Hello, everyone. I'm Orja, and I'm thrilled to have you all here today at AI Search webinar AI for Executives Turning Disruption into a Competitive Advantage. We are partnering with Opportunities Workshop, and today we are diving into how AI is shaping our careers and creating new opportunities in our professional world. Before we start, let me ask you something. How many of you have ever wondered how AI could transform your career or business? You can just type in the chat box yes or no or whatever your answers are. Great. Great to see so many of you are interested. Okay. So you are at the right place because in today's webinar, it's all about unlocking the power of AI for your career growth and success. We have the two incredible as well as the experienced speakers lined up with us who are going to guide us through this transformation. First, I would like to welcome Chris Hodson, the founder of Opportunities Workshop, a leading UK training provider. Chris has a unique background spanning education, technology, and workforce development. He will share how AI is changing the workforce and how we can adapt to ensure that we in the future proof our careers. His focus is on inclusive growth and leveraging AI to unlock new opportunities and will show you how you can stay ahead in this fast moving digital era. So, I welcome you, Chris, over here in the webinar. And next, we have a experienced instructor that is Dwayne Netwick. Dwayne Netwick is a technical instructor at AI Certs. Dwayne brings over 30 years of experience in IT and AI education. Moreover, he is a Microsoft MVP certified and he is going to share the practical steps to apply AI in your work. Whether you are into any industry, finance, marketing, healthcare, or any professions, he will also discuss how you can maximize the productivity through AI, ensuring that you are just keeping and leading the charge in AI driven innovation. By the end of this session, you will be able to understand as well as get insight from our tech expert that how you can advance your career, boost your productivity, and get new opportunities through AI. So let's kick off this event and I'll hand it over back to Dwayne as well as Chris. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for the intro. Hi, I'm Chris Hodson from Opportunities Workshop. And the reason we set up today's session, is probably the reason that you joined. Most sort of the business owners that I meet kind of tell me the same thing. They know tech and AI should be making their lives easier, but they don't necessarily have the time, the headspace, or the confidence to figure out where to start, where to ignore, and how to make things happen, in a safe and sensible way. So, really for today's session, isn't it? Dwayne is going to kind of take us through the journey that execs can take, and it's one of the reasons why here at Upworks we're pleased to be the first platinum partner for AI certs in the UK to bring the range of role specific training that's available through the AI certs platform to the businesses in the UK that are kind of facing the kind of the disruption and this kind of once in a generation kind of challenge and opportunity that AI is presenting. So let's kind of hand through to Dwayne, who can take us through today's session, and we can explore more over the coming minutes. Dwayne, all yours.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me here today to OpsWorks and and AI certs to speak to everybody about AI and how it is transforming and really disrupting business at this point. We've seen a lot of changes even with a lot of tech organizations. There's been, Microsoft made a lot of changes this year. Amazon, Google are all making making strategic decisions around generative AI. It's no longer a big old a hype cycle. We are trying to determine strategically how it's going to align with our business and how we can use it for creative purposes and efficiency purposes. It's something that should be woven into the fabric of our daily operations. Over 60%, some of the data is over 60% of large enterprises are starting to deploy AI, in generative AI, Copilots, ChatGPT, Gemini, all those types of tools across various business functions to work more efficiently. Excuse me. For executives, and the one thing around AI is it's not about coding. It's about understanding. It's about comprehension. It's about knowing what those core technologies, like using tools like natural language processing, and the generative AI aspect of the creative nature of AI in a strategic manner. If you can't understand and can't comprehend how the machine learning model works and transformation model, you need to understand. You need to understand those things, though, to understand and evaluate all the various tools that are coming out there and what the pitch is that they're giving you and how it's going to help your business. So it's about reshaping your business and being more efficient in making money. So it's a very dynamic and constantly changing and constantly evolving aspect to your business. It can help with pricing, with creating dynamic pricing for generating more business. It can be used for predictive analytics to understand how what is happening with your inventory and model those and run those models and adapt those models on a constant learning basis. And if you're not updating those and you're not making sure that they're working properly, you're going to risk falling behind. And that's really the key aspect to all of this is maintaining your competitive advantage out there. So I'm going to run through a couple of kind of case studies around this here. First off is DeepMind's AlphaFold. It's a very significant scientific breakthrough. It wasn't just to optimize a workflow. It solved a problem that was a 50-year-old scientific challenge around predicting protein structures, cracking, biologists struggles for decades. How do we understand and handle pharmaceuticals and genomics? The interesting thing here around kind of this and breaking protein structures is I was seeing, I heard a advertisement yesterday around protein. We're like inputting protein in like everything now in the U.S. It seems like my son grabbed it at the local convenience store this week. Protein chips that had like 19 grams of protein in it. Those are things that AI is helping to unlock from a scientific perspective. Doing deep learning models and doing these pattern recognition and mapping mapping the biological knowledge and shifting research and designing those drugs faster, targeting disease more precisely, reducing the time to market. We saw this a few years ago with the COVID vaccines. We got to market very quickly and they ran models very quickly. So when we're thinking about that from an executive level and what these models and all these large language modeling and all this high performance compute can do, it does not, it's not limited, and it's not limited to just process improvement. It's not limited to R&D, but it refines all we can do in terms of an entire industry. So companies that integrate AI into their various pipelines, including research and development, in this case, from pharmaceuticals to food scientists, they're rewriting how how business is done. They're not just innovating anymore. We are changing the game and changing how everything is going about. Um, the other here is BMW and their AI smart factory. Um, a we're the it's not we AI is not new. And just to kind of baseline things, AI has been around for a long time. Machine learning, robotics, we've been using those, and we've had those areas on the assembly line for a long time. And smart factories, not just robotics on an assembly line. This is intelligence that's embedded in every layer of their operations, understanding and detecting flaws in assembly to and monitoring vibration, heat signatures from the various machines that could be on the verge of a potential breakdown before it happens, to then use AI to contribute to near zero defects in production, reducing downtime, creating higher throughput, but also avoiding recalls on the back end. Recalls cost automotive companies thousands, if not millions of dollars, if there is a flaw in just one component of that automobile. What BMW is trying to do is to build and scale appropriately in their manufacturing, and codifying with reusable AI platforms. So having the ability to implement this at various levels across 30 plants globally, and it's not just in operations; it's in strategy as well. So again, AI manufacturing isn't futuristic. This isn't futuristic manufacturing. This is happening today, and it's driving higher profit margins for BMW as they continue to implement more of this across more of their plants. The next one is Unilever and their AI strategy playbook, scaling across various forecasting and inventory, which probably talks to a lot more people than in pharmaceuticals, maybe in manufacturing. This goes across any kind of inventory basis, using not just isolated pilots, but enterprise scale implementation on their supply chain, finding the pain points on stock and inventory waste, using predictive AI models to slash their costs, boost availability, understand what people are buying, what consumers are buying, so that the inventory is there, and decrease the inventory of what they're not buying. So Unilever uses that machine learning to personalize marketing, accelerate research and development, having a data-driven approach. When we talk about AI, we talk about data a lot, and understanding and having campaigns that are targeted to specific consumers, to target specific inventory, reducing waste, improving customer engagement, making customers feel like the marketing is built for them rather than just something that's being thrown out there for everybody. And Unilever didn't just stop at various use cases. It built a infrastructure and an AI center of excellence. We talk a lot about center of excellence in terms of cloud and technology. When we build a center of excellence, what we're building is a repeatable infrastructure to govern over the various layers, and specifically around artificial intelligence is maintaining proper ethics, maintaining proper accountability, proper making sure that it's unbiased, making sure that we're standardized, making sure that our speed to operation is consistent, but also governed properly to avoid and transform our business appropriately, to avoid bias, and make sure that we have responsible AI and machine learning models in place. For executives, AI scale isn't just again about good models. It's about being good leaders, managing governance and policies, and being disciplined about your use. It's not just about hey, we need to get AI in our business. We need to use Copilot. We need to use Claude. We need to use ChatGPT. We need to use Gemini. It's not about just using those tools. It's about being strategic about those tools and governing over them appropriately as well. The next, I believe, the last case study that we have is J.P. Morgan. Many of you may know J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan is a large financial organization, so this is looking at it from a financial perspective, and they have had a massive AI deployment. And but through set and what sets them apart, and what this case study really, and obviously being a financial organization, is governance. Making sure that they're using it, and they're using it for fraud detection at trillions of data points to stop fraud at real time. This has been something that's been around. I bank at one of J.P. Morgan's organizations, and last Christmas I was making a large purchase at a local store. I had hundreds of dollars of gift cards, and I had it was about $700 of purchase with food. I was at a local place that has food and gift cards and just pretty much everything you need. And I'm at the checkout line and go to run my debit card and got denied. And immediately I got a text message with a fraud alert, and I was able to say, yes, it's me. They could run it again. Prior to having these types of deployments and this fraud detection in real time, I would have been denied, would have had to possibly, if I didn't have another card, use another card, or they might, even back years and years ago, the merchant might have even taken my card and cut it up in front of me. This gives a real-time detection, real-time fraud alerts, and gives a robust aspect to risk management. JP Morgan has built that robust risk management framework internally, but it's also created a risk management management of risk to their consumers as well, from credit scoring to trading. They have compliance embedded into their AI utilization. Ethical AI, I mentioned this on the previous one. Ethical AI is necessary, and it is operational, and having fairness, especially when you're banking and you're doing credit scoring, you're approving mortgages. There needs to be a principle of trust into how the AI models are tooled and trained. We need to be on board and educated and accountable and engaged in governing over those, in managing and monitoring those. And that, from an executive perspective, is one of those key aspects to policies and standards that you're going to use strategically for AI. The overall, just to summarize this particular case study, it demonstrates a very mature aspect to AI leadership. It's not just building those smart tools, it's safe, scalable, and compliant systems. And when we're talking about financials, we're talking about healthcare, we're talking about maintaining compliance to various regional requirements, such as GDPR in the EU and the UK. Those are all things we need to make sure is that privacy is protected accordingly as well across all of the legal requirements, the industry requirements, and we're governing over those as executives. So to kind of take those case studies and kind of bring those around to that aspect of workforce and workforce transformation, AI, the aspect, the conversation anytime I do any kind of AI talk is AI going to take my job? And so it's a very polarizing discussion. When we start to adopt and adapt generative AI tools and into our operations, it's about transformation, though. It's about automation. It's not eliminating the human element of things. It's making sure to complement the human element. Doctors using AI for detecting cancer earlier, customer service tools and agents with AI copilots to understand what the what customers are saying about our products, about our services, marketing to use predictive engines to do focused marketing to use it as a superpower, not a substitution to the workforce. And uh, the important aspect of things and what AI certs is doing a great job of is building training such as the AI for executives and that helps the workforce to evolve. It's reskilling, it's upskilling, it's empowering employees to thrive in these AI augmented roles. The these if you look at job descriptions, many job descriptions today ask have some level of AI knowledge in there. So when I get asked the question, and I see this online all the time as well, is my job going to be replaced by AI? The 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 kind of joke or tongue-in-cheek response is no, but somebody that knows about AI will. And that's really where AI certs comes into play, and OpsWorks, partners like OpsWorks that are doing the training and the skilling to help to grow those roles, to help to grow that understanding, and organizations need to be on board to fund that development, fund that professional development as well as the product development around artificial intelligence and generative AI use. Uh, and so that brings us to kind of the question of, are we from an executive perspective, as executives, we're building an AI strategy. Are we preparing our people to partner, to be a partner with AI tools? Are we leaving them behind? It's no different than cloud technologies when we started to deploy workloads in the cloud and needed to utilize those tools, utilize cloud-based productivity tools and sharing information through the internet and things of that nature. Were we prepared to do that? A lot of organizations were not, and they were actually fast tracked into it a lot by the COVID pandemic. So we're in the same kind of influx right now of we need to implement these tools, or we want to implement these tools strategically so we don't fall behind as executives, but we need to make sure we're preparing our people and our organization to adapt and to adopt those tools as well. It's not about AI transformation doesn't scale by itself. It requires very intentional leadership. It's no different than again migrating to cloud technologies. It starts with maintaining levels of cross-function alignment. It's not an IT project. It's a priority for the enterprise across finance, human resources, our compliance, and security, as well as customer-facing teams, sales, marketing, all need to be involved in the discussion. Having focus and having specific priorities. Don't try to launch 20 pilots. Prioritize 3 to 5 use cases where we have data maturity, leadership buy-in, measurable outcomes. And just to kind of digress a little bit about data maturity and data availability. When we talk about one of the things that I talk about, I do a lot of cybersecurity training and data engineering training and those types of things. And using generative AI is a data engineering tool in a lot of ways. We take raw data, and we put those in the models, and we work with that data to do various things, whether it's predictive analytics, whether it's understanding whether a machine's gonna break, whether it's gonna be customized marketing, things of that nature. And so it's not just data being available, it's the maturity of our data and the governance we have over our data that's the most important thing. One of the aspects of artificial intelligence that I always kind of say is that artificial intelligence is that toddler that just learned to walk in a lot of ways. It wants it wants to satisfy you. It wants to give you what you ask them for, and it's going to go wherever it can to find it. So if you aren't putting proper guardrails on your data and protecting your data appropriately, that's going to create potential exposure of sensitive data. So data maturity as well as data availability are very clear aspects of things. And one of the things that we have not done customarily as a good job of, just generally, not saying you and your organization hasn't done a good job, but what I've seen out there is as we migrated and moved things to the cloud, data has exploded all over the place. It's, we haven't governed it appropriately, and that was a problem that we had, and it's becoming more of an exposed problem with generative AI because now it can find sensitive data where we didn't know we had sensitive data. So making sure that we are governing over our data, putting proper data loss prevention tools in place, and things like that are going to be helpful. The next piece is the measurement. What does successful look like? Is it reducing churn in our organization? Is it creating faster processing time? Is it increasing our upselling, increasing our sales, doing more focused marketing? We need to have metrics. We need to be able to measure and have accountability and revisit on a regular basis. And tools don't create the transformation. People do. If we aren't from the executive all the way down to the mid-level managers, all the way down to the doers, don't understand how to use it, aren't trained appropriately, and especially at the mid-level managers on how to adopt and how to adapt to these new tools, there's going to be a break in the connective tissue between the vision and the execution. No different than, again, cloud migration and using cloud tools and using an adoption for things like Microsoft 365 or any kind of any kind of collaborative tools that you put in place. You've got to train people and make them comfortable with it for them to adopt it. The global AI market, again, is entering a new phase. Again, it's moving at a hyperscale. There is a point where it's forecasted that AI is going to reach $2 trillion in market by 2030. Very explosive growth across all industries and regions. It's investment backed by billions and billions of dollars from Fortune 100 companies globally and things of that nature. It's not just speculative. One of the things that has been mentioned, in some of my peers around in North America around things like Amazon Web Services is, do you want to know where Amazon's next data center is going to be? Look where they're putting new power grids, because artificial intelligence uses a lot of power, and Amazon is buying up all of the land around power grids to build their data centers to power AI. So that investment is there. North America is doing a lot around AI. APAC is quickly gaining a lot of ground. Various sectors. Healthcare has been using artificial intelligence for decades. That's kind of where artificial intelligence and machine learning models came into play. Early on was probably one of the first places that started to adopt machine learning and AI. Now with generative AI, it's moving at a faster scale, as well as manufacturing. Those are kind of the leaders in deployments. But we're seeing various uptakes around architecture, agriculture, public sector, education. Is start and learning using AI tools for adaptive learning models, especially with a lot of special needs out there. How do we adopt and do adaptive education that makes them more successful? But it's not smooth, because of talent shortages, infrastructure bottlenecks. As I said, lots of compute power is needed, as well as various regulatory uncertainty. What's it doing to the environment is a very key responsible AI mechanism that we need to understand. For executives, understanding how the trends, that it's that you are being and navigating, competitive, to build a competitive advantage, being strategic again, like we were talking about in the previous slide, of understanding those top 3 to 5 use cases and how we are utilizing our resources appropriately overall. The data's there, the data's clear. The problem isn't building models, it's building them at scale and building them responsibly, making sure that we are governing over our data appropriately. Most companies are having issues in the scaling, in the overall deployment. They run their pilots, they and kind of find themselves in that pilot purgatory. Okay, where do I take it from here? How do I execute it? How do I deploy it at scale over the organization? We've run this model, but we don't have the people. We don't have the buy-in. We don't have the adoption. According to BCG, they report only 1 in 10 enterprises actually embeds AI across business functions. And the reason for that, again, is they treat the AI like a technical experience rather than a business transformation. That's why, a few slides ago, we mentioned HR, finance, marketing, sales, executives, IT, security, all, data engineering, all should be involved in the discussion, in the impact, and building that high impact use case, and building that focus, ensuring that data maturity, that data governance, that data availability, and empowering the business process owners and the business ownership to adopt and to utilize these tools. It's about people and process is really what it comes down to. That's we've got to change our culture. I have this conversation around cybersecurity. I have this conversation around cloud adoption. And now we're having it around AI adoption. It's about people and process, and building a culture of governance, of utilizing and change management, or cross-functional around teams, and having proper metrics. Without governance and culture, and without proper alignment with something that's measurable, it just still stays in that pilot purgatory. So are you organized to scale? Have you provided the proper training? Have you got the proper buy-in, got the proper teams involved? That center of excellence really comes into play, where you have cross-functional awareness across various teams. We're entering this new phase of AI, where with the agentic AI, those of you that are in the United States and ever watch a sporting event here in the U.S. with our ads with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson around Salesforce and their agent force, we've got ServiceNow with Idris Alba. We've got the all the rock stars for I think that's Workday. Everybody's talking about AI agents becoming enterprise, and those are becoming ways that we can quickly deploy again and utilize for specific workloads and specific utilizations. Earlier generations of AI was really around prompt engineering and proactively managing workflows and building those workflows. The agents are more digital workers. They're handling all of those aspects of and can accelerate adoption to deploy, by deploying AI agents. So the implications, cost savings, real-time execution at scale with these agents that are built within our various tools that we're using today. But we need to make sure that we are being transparent. We're making sure that we're controlling. We're making sure that these tools, these agents are auditable. We don't just look and find an agent that's out there. Obviously reputable firms that I've mentioned, such as Salesforce and ServiceNow, Workday, their agents. Hopefully, I would ask as executives, ask the question around, what's the safety, the accountability, the resilience, what have you gone through in terms of, and what transparency, is it audible, how controllable, what types of controls do we have over the training the models, making sure that they are unbiased, making sure that they're ethical, are all things that we need to think about and things that we need to understand. Oops. Again, despite billions that are being invested in AI, um, again, that purgatory, that pilot purgatory, culture and organizational readiness is a key aspect to being a barrier to adoption. The change, fear of job loss, the lack of AI literacy, are really the main barriers that executives have in AI adoption. I don't want to use this tool because it's going to take my job. Without leadership alignment, clear communication, this is like any change in culture, change in strategy. There needs to be a level of awareness, a level of understanding, a level of knowing what the impact's going to be and communicating that impact to everybody. It's that what's in it for me attitude that everybody's going to have. How's this going to affect me? Again, there's a widespread talent crunch, especially around understanding business and data and how that all works together. That slows the progress. I've mentioned the data and the data maturity, the data availability. A lot of our data is siloed. It's incomplete, it's dirty, and it's also very widespread and not classified or categorized appropriately within our organization. Uh, AI needs that clean, structured data, and we as executives and as organizations need clean, structured data that isn't and properly classified data so that we know where our sensitive data is, we know where our intellectual property is, we know where our data that we can't that we want to make sure does not get exposed is. Another little use case around AI adoption, I was doing a training for an organization last year where their executives were saying, "Hey, we need to use Copilot," and their entire development and art and security and IT department was like, "Whoa, we have all this intellectual property, all these recipes for their spices." They were a spice organization. That if if somebody within the organization misprompts and we expose that to our competitors, we lose our competitive advantage, we lose business and things of that nature. Those are all real concerns around data, and we need to make sure that we're taking that to heart, and we are cleaning our data appropriately. Like I said, a lot of organizations moved to the cloud and started utilizing the cloud without proper governance standards in place, without proper data loss prevention, without properly categorizing and classifying our data. And when I talk about classifying our data, it's classifying all of our data, including the public data, marking that public so that we aren't so that everything has a marker on it, so that we can put proper governance on that data and make sure that data is appropriately managed, so and permissions are properly given then to our AI agents, our generative AI models, so that it does not access that sensitive, that confidential, and private data as well. The absence of metrics on what the return on investment really is a key aspect. Not having KPIs, we need to make sure that we're justifying. Again, that builds on that pilot fatigue, the executive skepticism, without having proper what the success look like is a key aspect. Again, I always, when I'm talking about artificial intelligence and AI adoption, I always go back to cloud adoption as well. And there's various cloud adoption frameworks, and do a lot of Microsoft training. And was just teaching a couple weeks ago around the cloud adoption framework. And the first phase of the cloud adoption framework is the business strategy. You can take that same adoption framework for cloud adoption for Microsoft Azure, and adopt it to artificial intelligence, because without a proper business strategy, and understanding what our end goal is for adopting AI, we are going to fail. We need to be able to measure it so that the technical people that are doing the adoption, and the business people that are going to be adopting those processes are held responsible and accountable, and can report that back to the executives as well. Global AI, it's a race. It's not a theory. It is, over 300 billion is planned in investments in redefining the aspects of competitive boundaries. I mentioned at the beginning of all this that big tech is putting capital into the compute infrastructure, the model training, acquisitions, the AI offerings that they have. They're also readjusting their entire workforce to focus on AI adoption and helping organizations with their AI adoption. It's not the valuation's not compatibility. There's, again, as we've mentioned many times, a widening gap between firms that are spending on AI and those that actually are able to deploy it at scale. MIT says, again, most just 30%. We had that note a few slides ago as well. The money doesn't, just throwing money at AI adoption and investing in tools doesn't guarantee that maturity. The leadership is necessary to convert into execution. End-to-end AI ecosystems. It's the ability to change our culture, unifying our data, modeling, enabling our workforce, governing over the ethics, and maintaining an unbiased AI utilization. All needs to work together. As an executive, very key questions isn't what you're spending your AI on, but what you're getting from it. And again, understanding and putting those 3 to 5 types of use cases in place and building metrics around it and building a pure business strategy is going to get you there the fastest and also the most disciplined as well. AI is not something, again, you delegate to IT. This is leadership, having a business strategy. Again, same thing as I said, kind of taking that analogy with cloud migration, cloud adoption as well. C-suite needs to have a commitment. There needs a commitment, again, across the board. Starting at leadership, leadership's going to guide that strategy. The business owners, the business process owners are going to help to guide the adoption and engagement of the workforce, and IT is going to execute on the technical level. Executives don't need to understand and become coders, but they do need to be able to ask the proper questions of how we're monitoring this, how we're being and be fluent in how to steer the ship, how to communicate what the strategy is, what we're expecting it to do on the back end, and then bridging that gap. Business teams need to understand what those outcomes are. The leadership then must connect the dots through the metrics, through the translations, and translate between the various teams. It's building a policy, a cultural policy. Building, leaders need to normalize that there are going to be changes. It's experimental to some degree, but understanding and backing upskilling efforts, again, rewarding data-driven thinking, and building that mindset, changing that culture. Culture change starts at the top, starts at the executive level. So those are very important aspects of things. Some things around strategy in that foresight. It's imagining not just projecting trends. It's not linear. This is very dynamic. You got to understand the scenarios, and you've got to understand that there are AI native startups out there. Think about some companies like Tesla, that what they did with the auto industry, what OpenAI did with productivity and building productivity software. OpenAI kind of changed the game around how artificial intelligence was being used and how boldly they and really what they did 3-4 years ago now is what everybody's doing. You know, they then they need to continue to innovate, continue to change as well. Global regulations you need to be aware of as well, as from an executive perspective. Lots of governments are coming out with AI standards, AI frameworks, AI risk management frameworks, AI ethical frameworks. You need to understand those. You need to adopt those frameworks as well. And a lot of those, may become requirements, maybe are working towards legal requirements, but having a framework in place is going to help maintain that compliance. And that's going to become that's a very key competency to that. Um, open open source systems. I get in this conversation a lot when talking about software. Do we use open source systems? Do we use closed source systems? Custom, consumer off the shelf systems. Understand if you're using open source systems and you're using open source code and open source models and things like that, that you need to evaluate them and do your due diligence and due care on that. Design for agility, diversify. Don't just lay your eggs in one AI tool. Embed a strategy. Again, foresight, annual planning, quarterly planning, daily planning, and daily strategy is going to be a key aspect to all of this. Again, our strategy, having execution commitments, having metrics behind them, have a checklist, have a strategy, have something documented, have a plan in place, are all going to be keys to making sure that you're making an impact as an executive, as a business process owner, as the overall center of excellence team. There needs to be a commitment across the board from leadership all the way down. From a personal aspect, personal commitments, making sure that, if we're sponsoring a pilot, how are we auditing that? What are our metrics? What is our training for the users? We need to build and maintain levels of trust. Making a 30-day commitment is a tangible action to build that trust, to build that initiative, and build that transformation. Wrapping up here, again, some things around the AI Plus executive certification. And really, overall, a lot of our AI certs, professional level, role-based certifications. These are not just learning programs. They are going to help be a strategic enabler for you. The course itself is built from the ground up to give you some of those basic aspects of the technical of what large learning models are and things of that nature, but finding those gaps in terms of leadership, misalignment, strategic use case focuses, poor scaling, cultural inertia. Those are all built into the AI Plus executive certification program and course. There is no coding in the course. These professional level courses center on what leaders actually need. How do you align AI? How do you build governance frameworks? How do you foster adoption? How do you measure that success? It's very case-based. It's sector-specific as well. There's various also courses specific on specific specific industries as well, designed to be able to apply this immediately. So if you complete this certification, you're equipped to lead your AI transformation, not just delegate, and you become, again, a trusted internal advisor, credible voice, and start to build and lead that culture. So if you're looking at making AI driven, building an AI driven strategy, an AI driven economy, this certification is definitely something you should look more into. And that brings me to the end of this presentation. I don't know if we have any questions. I've seen some messages come up, but certainly have a few minutes to take some questions if anybody has any. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
I'm so sorry, I was speaking on a
No
mute
problem.
basis. Yeah. So yes, Chris, over here people were asking that why people should enroll into the certifications, why it is so important to get certified.
Chris, do you want to take that or you want me to take it?
Drop into your text. Yeah, so I think the certification for a lot of the organizations we work with, it's about validating that you've got the understanding, you can demonstrate the understanding, and we're not leaving any gaps in the foundation. So I think having that kind of confidence that you as the exec have kind of made the commitment to the journey, and are role modeling the cultural change that we need to embrace this, we need to make the most of it. Yeah, is a really kind of positive step at the start of the transformation journey. When we're asking everyone across the organization to kind of make a similar investment in kind of adjusting how they work and embracing the future of work.
Okay, yeah, that sounds nice. So, doing certification, it is something where it will just, the question is that if we are doing AI certifications, then will it hamper our roles? Will our jobs are into insecurity?
Can you repeat that?
They are asking, there is a question over here that if we learn about AI in our professional life, will it will it be getting up into our jobs? Will it hamper our jobs or it will enhance our job career?
Oh, it certainly would enhance our jobs and our ability um, to I'm in Michigan in the United States, which is kind of the automotive capital of the world, and I obviously there's um, over the course of the Industrial Revolution and everything like that in the assembly line, the you know the way that automobiles have been built has changed. We've had, there was, and probably around the 80s was when robotics started coming into the assembly line. And now we're at the point where are we moving from petroleum engines to electric engines? And everybody's like, oh, well, it's going to cost thousands of jobs. No, it's going to cost the jobs of the people that don't want to learn about electric car engines versus petroleum engines. If you learn how to assemble a electric engine car, you still can work on an assembly line. And that's the same thing when it comes to generative AI. If you make a structured effort to learn and to understand, you are still a marketable resource to an organization. So, and a usable resource to that organization. Again, I mentioned it during the presentation. Is AI going to take my job? No, somebody that knows about AI is going to take your job. That's really what it comes down to.
Okay,
I think
fair
certainly if I
enough.
could share a perspective on that one, I know from a lot of the organizations that we work with, I think in every job we all have it. There are bits of the job that we're good at, there are bits of the job we like doing, and there are those kind of tasks that we have to do because they need doing. AI is a great opportunity to get a whole load of this. It's kind of automated working for us. So if you're a sales guy, you can spend more time talking to your customers, giving them what they want, and less time having to fill in the paperwork that kind of keeps the show on the road. It's an enabling technology, I think, that will allow us all to become greater at what we do.
Okay, fair enough. So yes, thank you everyone. I'm sorry. Thank you everyone for joining the session, and thank you Chris and Devin for giving such an insightful things. Before we wrap up, I would like to tell you one thing that AI search certifications, we have partnered with Opportunity Workshop, right? Over here, you will be getting the certification. You can contact them through the contact numbers provided in the chat, as well as you can visit their websites. Uh, we are providing more than 50 role-based certifications. Over your certifications is not based on your skills, but it is enhancing your professional life, making your daily task easy. Whether you are a technical person, you're non-technical person, or just a curiosity to understand what AI is all about, how different tools helps you out. Yeah, so please get in touch with us, get enrolled in the certifications, and please enhance and uh, upgrade your career. At the end, I would like to tell you that by the end of the session, you will be receiving a participate certificate from our certification website, that is CERTs 365. And also in the span of 48 hours, you will be receiving the recording of this session through your mailbox. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Dwayne, for such an insightful and providing us such insightful things about AI executive, about AI, and about the certification. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.